using the credit that you got correctly and properly so that it's going to benefit you rolling into the launch phase, the go phase. And this is probably going to be a 3 to 6 month process here where we're building age on our credit, possibly getting some credit limit increases to look even better going into the go phase. And then during the go phase, we're going to fine tune our credit profile with anything else that we can do, maybe like increasing our daily balance at a certain bank before we go for funding with it, or getting those credit limit increases to actually report to our profile, waiting a little bit, stuff like that. Just really like finalizing before we pull the trigger on stuff. We're going to test the waters with soft pull pre-qualification tools so that we have basically almost guaranteed odds at getting all the cards that we want to get in a specific order. And we'll break that down. And then we're going to execute our first funding sequence right here. Probably going to be between 3 to 7 cards on the personal side, maybe 1 or 2 on the business side. And then you're going to garden for a little bit, and then you're going to hit a real business funding sequence, which we'll talk about tomorrow. You guys will see that all the way to the advanced stages. But so the growth phase here, this is what it looks like a little more mapped out. The personal information, the term for like your one name, one address, one employer, we call that a PBID. So your personal borrower identification. You want to basically come up with one way to spell your name, one way to spell your address, which you can find. The correct way to spell your address is actually on the USPS database. I would copy that exact way that they spell it, right? The Postal Service, and put that everywhere. That way you have no complications because the bank is going to cross-reference with USPS, and you're going to want to basically match that to the T, like to the very punctuation. And that's a really helpful tip that's going to stop pre-quals from going south on you. I've seen it literally change the results of a pre-qual seconds apart. Like if someone misspells they technically didn't misspell it, but they spelt it in a way that the USPS didn't have it on file, and it ruined their pre-qual. And if they went, all they had to do was go back and change it. So for instance, 123 Main Street, if they forgot to spell the word street in full, right? STREET, maybe they just put ST. That little tiny typo to the algorithms that could be the reason why they're not getting pre-approved. And it's funny, but it's a thing. So you have to just be really detail oriented like that. Going into the 1 to 2 installment loans minimum, 2 pledge loan hacks would be ideal. We'll break down the pledge loan hack in this presentation, but Credit Strong is a good option as well. And you can actually get 2 of those. Data mining with banks, that would be Chase, Navy Federal if you can, possibly data mining with Amex early by getting the Serve prepaid debit card just because, or the high yield savings account, and then Wells Fargo checking as well, just so you can kind of data mine for the Built card. We'll talk about the sequence. And then possibly 1 to 2 credit cards. It's not as simple as just picking any random secured credit card product because some of them are kind of like minefields. Like they have secret fees and they don't graduate. You got to make sure you're getting a good quality card. We'll show you the options that you have. And then getting authorized users if possible here. So free from friends and family. There's no point in paying for AUs at this stage because you're so early. So that would be your goal. So personal info. Applications are determined by algorithms. Most are never seen by human eyes. So we want to make it as smooth and easy as possible to get verified and approved. The first task for these banking algorithms when they're looking at your application is to figure out, are you a real person? Are you verifiable? And then push through the application, right? So it's especially important, I'd say, in the node doc ranges because we want smooth approvals. And so here's how to clean up your personal info. So your names and addresses came from either you, a banker, or some other institution that's submitting your personal info. And sometimes there can be typos or inaccuracies with these. I've literally seen, a banker have a typo in the submission that they gave, and now there's a typo on my credit report and have to go clear that up and find out where it came from. Could be a bank account, could be a credit card. And so step 1 for this would be to pull official copies of your credit reports via annualcreditreport.com. And then you would want to technically detach the incorrect addresses from the accounts that they came from. So you're going to want to find out where it came from, update it, and then wait about 30 days for them to report the new info that you gave them, which will cause that info to detach from that account. And then you're going to call in to request that the inaccurate info be taken off. And you're going to want to stick to one name, one address, and one employer if you can. Sometimes there's old info that's attached to a closed account that you can't mess with anymore. That's completely fine. You can have multiples on there. It's not going to, break everything, but it's just best to make it as lean as you can. And here's a actual screenshot of what the site looks like, so you guys don't get fooled. There's a lot of scams and stuff out here when it comes to credit and all that. So this is actually what the site looks like, annualcreditreport.com. That's how you spell the website name. And then here's another tip. So when you call that particular bureau to remove your personal information, you don't have to give the rep on the phone your social if you don't want to. You can actually just read them off the report number from the copies that you get of your credit report. And that's all they need to be able to access your credit report and change details on it. So some people that are more, prone to, worry about their privacy and stuff, and I get it with employees on the phone, that could be something that's helpful. Okay, so that's the personal information part. Moving on to the installment loans. The first type of installment loan, I would call it a builder loan. This is like super common, super beginner. Anyone can get this, anyone can get approved, but it's not as quality as the pledge loan hack that we'll explain in a second. It's also not as set it and forget it type, but this one is the one I'd recommend. The Credit Strong $49 a month option. And again, it's not $49 a month going into thin air. You're basically using it as like a forced savings account. So almost all of that money is going back to you. It's just being saved on like this monthly basis that they decided. So they're going to hold your money and they're going to report that as payments. And they're going to show payment history and that extra account, which is going to show $2,500 as an installment account reported on your profile. It's no hard pull, no credit check. You can keep it for up to 5 years in this case because it's going up to 60 months. And there's no penalties to cancel. And you could even have two of these same exact accounts. So you could have two installment loans if you're okay with paying, obviously, $49 a month times two. And maybe you just do this for 6 months so you can build your credit up and then get better accounts, maybe get into Navy Federal or maybe get actual personal loans, whatever, to supplement this. And then maybe you can cancel those later on. And you kind of force yourself to save some money and put it to the side. This is a more affordable option is what they, promote it as, but technically I looked into the terms and the interest rate is like double. It's not much because it's a small amount, but still, it also only goes up to 48 months versus 60 months. So I wouldn't really recommend this one. I'd probably go for the $49 a month one. And I'd rather get one of the $49 a month options than two of these, basically. Self is a competitor. It's not as good though. It can only go up to 24 months as of me making this slide. And it's way smaller of an amount that you can have. And yeah, I would just get two Credit Strong accounts. If I was looking at getting one Credit Strong, one Self, I would probably just go two Credit Strongs. Okay, so second type of secured loan. This one, you're going to actually need some sort of collateral ahead of time, but you're going to get it all back in a few days. And then you're going to be building your credit on autopilot, which is like the most awesome thing. It's so much peace of mind to it. I haven't had to make a single payment on my pledge loan hack since the second month when I paid it all off and then got my money back. You guys will see what I mean. But these are bank issues. So the one I'm going to talk about is from Navy Federal, and they look way better than those credit builder company versions. So let's say this is a secured loan. You're going to see that it's similar to kind of a secured credit card, but in this case, the hack is that we get our money back versus a secured card or normally a secured loan where they hold that money until the loan is over or until your card graduates, stuff like that. So in this case, you're going to offer collateral, we'll say 10K. The bank is going to hold on to that collateral and it's going to hand you the same amount back with the repayment terms over a certain length of time. So we'll say 60 months. Normally, your security deposit is going to be held in full by the bank until the very end of your loan term or until you pay it off completely. So if you made it for a 60-month term, normally they would hold that 10K, your original 10K that you locked up for 60 months or until you paid off the loan completely. That way sucks because the only way to get a large amount is to lock up a lot of money and then keep it locked for a long time if you want to build the age on that installment loan. And then if you pay it off in full to get your money back, you lose the age of the account because paid off installment accounts close and then they stop building your credit age. So it's like a double-edged sword normally. But the hack here is that there's some institutions that will let you open up a secured loan and they'll actually return the principal deposit back to you as you pay it down. So what does that mean? It means you can set up the loan and then pay 99% of it off on purpose, not 100%, because we don't want to actually close the loan. We just want to get almost all of our money paid down, and then they're going to give us that exact amount that we paid down right back to us. And then it's going to report as a 99% paid off installment loan and just report good payments every month until the last month. So in this case, 60 months from now. And this is a no credit check, no hard pull as well. And they can build credit for up to 10 years on autopilot. I've seen it up to 120 months and even more than that if you go over 6 figures at Navy. But yeah, insane. You can run this multiple times and have multiple accounts building on your credit.
Hey, James, real
Go
quick.
ahead.